maximize the chat features of this Zoom meeting, including the raise your hand button and the poll, okay? And number 4, let us listen attentively to our speaker and avoid any background noise from your end of the meeting. And lastly, you may take down notes for deepening of understanding, whether digitally or physically. Please take note that you will have a different e-certificate in every webinar. You can only access your certificate once you have answered our evaluation form in every meeting, all right? So again, we would like to remind you that right after this webinar session, you are going to answer an evaluation form in order for you to get your e-certificate. Thank you very much. So we shall now begin our session with the blessing, of course, of our most holy Father in the comfort of our homes. We are all gathered in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear Father, we thank you for everyone gathered here now. Thank you that you know each of us by name and have caused us to walk with you. We say that we are dependent on you and our trust is in you completely. As we surrender ourselves in adoration, we welcome you amongst us today and celebrate the gift of life that you have lavished upon each of us. We ask that you would open our ears so that we may hear your voice. Open our minds so that we may receive your eternal wisdom. Open our spirits so that we may know your leading and guidance. And open our hearts so that we may receive your wonderful love. Lord, we thank you for the speakers and facilitators. We pray that you would give them great inspiration as they share with us what you have placed on their heart. We pray that you would fill them with courage and give them your peace. We ask all this in the glorious name of Jesus. Amen. Saint Therese of the Child Jesus, pray for us. In the heart of the Church, my mother, I shall be loved.
In the name of the Father, the
In
Son,
the name of the
and
Father, the
Spirit.
Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
People are asking, where is Cardinal? You know we're facing unprecedented times right now, such as never been before in human history. The whole world is shut down. People are hurting. People are asking questions. Is this the end of the world? Well, no. But it is a precursor to things to come. People are asking, where is God in all this? Well, the answer's easy. Right where we left him, on the outside of our world. So how did we get to this place of chaos? We took God out of our schools. Well, guess what? Our schools have shut down. We took God out of our places of work. Guess what? Our places of work have shut down. We excluded God from our social life. Guess what? Our restaurants, clubs, sports arenas, and our most favorite activity, frivolous shopping, have all been shut down. We took God out of our governments. Guess what? Our governments are confused and don't know what to do or how to govern in this present crisis. We've even excluded God from our families. Guess what? It feels like we're shutting doors with someone we don't want to be with and away from the people we really want to be with. Instead of putting our trust in God, we put our trust in ourselves, but we're failing. We put our trust in governments, but they're failing. We put our trust in doctors, God bless them, but they're overwhelmed and failing too. So where is God? Right where we put him, outside of our lives. Oh, but what about the church? Well, we fail to reach the world, and we shut ourselves in the four walls of the church and preach to ourselves once or twice a week, and never saw or interacted with our church family or the world for the rest of the week. Guess what? Now there's no going to church. But wait, there is light at the end of the tunnel. God is still there, waiting to be invited back into our lives, not just at Christmas, Easter, or even once a week at church, but into our daily lives, our homes, our schools, our workplaces, our social lives, our governments, our hospitals, our world. This is not about religion. It's personal to you and starts with inviting God into your world by putting your personal well-being in his hands. Every day, in every area of your life, and just trusting him to be God for you. Let's just admit it. We missed it, and we need him. Pick up that good book today, the Bible, and read something. Maybe you could start with this. John 14, verse 6. Jesus answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me. Then just talk to him. He'll listen. He's really good like that. God bless you, and may his peace be with you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are showing you the activities done by our students during the previous academic years here in St. Therese Christian Development Center. And in behalf of our school head and president, we welcome you all to this Zoom webinar, Teach Like a Champion series in service training for Theresian teachers. Before we start, we would like to acknowledge the president, Ma'am Annie C. Corpin. Ma'am, thank you very much for coming here. All right, so let me just have a run through of our objectives for this afternoon. Number one is to equip teachers and parents of STCDCFI on the essential learning attributes of online distance learning and remote learning. Number two, for teachers to engage in a professional development endeavor with sharing of best practices, misconceptions, success stories, and online teaching experiences. Number three, for teachers to explore the effective means to online distance education and blended learning approach in the new normal in this pandemic school year. And of course, the last one, for parents to be able to understand the necessity and importance of online education for their children. And now, we officially begin this webinar session as we are proud to introduce to you our first speaker in this 8 sessions of Teach Like a Champion. I have the opportunity to introduce her to you. She was born on September 7, 1992 to Engineer Manuel and Madam Annie C. Corpin. She received an award, a President Bush Awardee for Academic Excellence, Class 2003 at Carl Henke Elementary School, Los Angeles, California. She was second honorable mention, batch 2004 at St. Therese Child Development Center. A salutatorian of the STCDCFI Pioneer Batch of 2008. A PGMA awardee for Culture and the Arts, year 2008. Graduated with bachelor's degree in secondary education, major in biological science, cum laude, batch 2012 at the University of Santo Tomas, España, Manila. She was president of the Student Teachers of the University of Santo Tomas and associate editor of the Education Journal of the UST College of Education, batch 2011, where she was given the prestigious College of Education Leadership Service Award. She furthered her studies at the De La Salle University, Taft, Manila, with a degree in Masters of Arts in Education, major in Educational Leadership and Management, batch 2006, where she served as Vice President of the Graduate Student Council, batch 2015 to 2016. She focused her DLSU thesis on learner-centered teaching and learning studying exemplar schools in Makati, Mandaluyong, Manila, and Quezon City. She has co-authored a paper on formative assessment for UST and Education Journal. She is also a writer of poetry with her book, The Passion of the Heart. She took up a supplemental online course in organizational analysis and management from Stanford University last August 2008, and now she is currently enrolled in Leyte Normal University for her Doctor of Education, major in Educational Administration. She worked in CSA Makati for 3 years as chemistry and grade 9 science teacher and council advisor, a member of the Philippine Biological Teachers Association from 2013 to 2016, a winning coach in the division, regional, and national schools press conference for news, sci-tech, editorial, and feature writing, member of the Philippine National Secondary School Paper Advisor Association. She is invited as a leadership and educational trainer, journalism trainer, and events host in both Manila and Tacloban City. Awarded as the most outstanding private school teacher in the secondary level during the World Teachers Day celebration of the Tacloban City Division last September 2017. She was our high school division chair in STCDCFI for 3 years and is currently the academic affairs coordinator of the institution. A passionate, God-loving daughter, sister, friend, leader, and an educator. Ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker in this webinar series, Ms. Cristel Angelica C. Corpin.
Thank you so much, Sir Albert. Good afternoon to all of you. Hi, ang haba ng introduction, no? But at the end of the day, I'm here, a teacher who is willing to share, lead, and be of service to all of you. So good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to this first session of Teach Like a Champion series. And I hope that all of you, even if you're not having a stable internet, are already engaged in this process. For those who are teachers of STCDCFI, welcome. You are utmost the priority in this session. And of course, to all the teachers who signed up, registered online in Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Okay, so wag na tayong patumpik-tumpik pa. Of course, I just want to greet you good afternoon. Even if I cannot see you, can you just smile and say good afternoon like this baby over here? Ayan. So I can see others who are familiar. Some of my colleagues in TSA are also here, so welcome. I'm glad that you're here. We're all glad that you're here. STCDCFI is glad that you are here, and of course, we are willing to give you whatever that we can equip. Sabi nga kanina sa objectives, the point of this webinar series is to equip all of us for professional development, okay? So all of our institutions have already given professional development seminars, and this is actually part of our INSET this year in STCDCFI. Today, our topic is very long. Parang mahaba yung title niya, no? But I want you to realize the essence of this topic. It's entitled Enhancing Learning Outcomes with Remote Teaching and Learning, New Roles and Capacities for Educators. One thing that I have to mention, of course, I'm a science teacher. I always go into keywords. Wag na tayong sobrang haba. Let's go to the keywords of what's the point of this webinar. One, it's a paradigm shift. Before, it was a paradigm shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered. This time, the new challenge for us is to shift from learner-centered to learning-centered, because the process of learning is already different. Hindi na po nasa classroom. since the pandemic, we have been into remote teaching and learning. Second, as I told you, it should be learning centered. It's learning how to learn in a deeper sense and in a different platform. Alam natin maging learner centered. We have been, having different seminars on how to be student centered. But this time you have to learn how to learn, okay? And of course, the third, try until you succeed. Try and try. Some of you have been teaching for like more than 20 years, less than 10 years, 0 to 3 years, bago pa lang. But at this point, you have to understand na kahit gaano ka kabago sa pagtuturo o kahit gaano ka katagal sa pagtuturo, we are somehow on the same platform because online distance learning is here. And we have to know how to really maximize this, okay? So we zero in on the learning outcomes. How can we improve students' outputs, okay? Remember, hindi na natin sila makikita face-to-face. So how can we really assess that they mastered what you have taught? To remote teaching and learning. Ano nga ba ang meaning ng remote? Is it the remote control, that we do, we use in our TV? Somehow it's related, but what is the meaning of that? How is it different from online classroom? Pareho ba yun? Those are the questions we want to analyze. And of course, the new roles and capacities. So I really put here new roles kasi alam nating lahat that we have to monitor students' progress, not anymore in a face-to-face level, but in different modalities, which you will learn later based from depth ed orders and of course from universal designs. Okay, so mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most resilient of them all? Can we all read? 1, 2, 3, go.
Teachers are the most resilient of them all.
Yes, so all of us are actually, we are the most resilient. We are also frontliners, teachers. In this pandemic, we know that health is primary, but education is secondary, where we also give the frontiers of it. We are the frontliners in this field. So as we move on, let me begin. Simula pa lang po tayo, wala pa tayong input. Let me begin being a science teacher with this image. Can I ask Miss Jacris Marquez, are you there? Opo, Miss Jacris, you can unmute. What do you see in the image, Miss Jacris? Andiyan ba si Miss Jacris? Okay, what about Mr. Gestoni Reyes? Okay, Mr. Gestoni, what do you see in the image? Hindi po sila sumasagot, baka hindi ako naririnig. Okay, so let's just go into it. What we see in the image is actually, the answer is already there. It's an ion. As a science teacher, I know that ion is an electrically charged atom, a charged particle. And so you opted to be here. When you combine those two words, opt and ion, it forms the word option. So I'd like to commend you for opting to be here. You know, it's a Friday afternoon. You could be somewhere else. You could be sleeping. You could be leading anywhere, but you opted to be in this webinar. Like an ion, you have to be positively charged. You're a cation. And so when you're a positively charged particle, you engage yourself on the positive learnings that you get. Somehow, sometimes you also become negative in a way that we cannot fully control what we learn. But at the end of the day, I assure you that after this webinar, there will be bonding. It may be bonding with you and your knowledge, bonding with you and your colleagues, and bonding with you and the new platform that you will be using. So technique number one, when you teach like a champion, technique number one is no opt-out, meaning don't ever take no or I don't know for an answer from your students, okay? You have to set high expectations. Don't take I don't know for an answer. Are you still there? Are you still with me? Kahit wave lang, hindi ko naka-unmute kayo. Ayan. So I hope you're there. Of course, most of you cannot see. But I hope you understand that at this point, kahit online distance learning, you have to really set high expectations, and it starts with your rapport in your objectives, okay? And one technique that I use with my students is the yes miss, or the teacher's response. So when I say teachers, Sir Albert, what do you think is the reply?
Yes, miss.
Teachers?
Yes, miss.
Teachers. Yeah, that's an example of an attention getter. For those who are, of course, Firisha teachers are very familiar with that because matagal ko na binibigyan sa kanila. But for the rest of you who's a first time in Teach Like a Champion series, one way to get the attention of your students is to really sing to them and give the tone in different ways. At this point, I want to ask you something. What does it mean to teach like a champion? I'd like to ask two people. Okay, yes, Ma'am Dan, I can see you there. Hello, Ma'am Dan. You can unmute your microphone. I'd like to ask you, what does it mean for you when you teach like a champion? Kahit one word lang, one phrase, being a teacher for 31 years.
Commitment.
Again?
Yes, being committed.
Ayun, wow, big word, committed, commitment, very good. So when you're a teacher champion, you are a committed teacher. Now, whatever you're doing, you are committed to it, you give your all. Okay, thank you, Ma'am Dan. What about Miss Marge Joseph? Kung sino lang po nakikita ko dito agad-agad ha. Miss Marge, what does it mean to teach like a champion for you?
Hello po. Winning together po.
I'm named together. So, sir pala, sir, what does it mean to teach like a champion?
Yun po, winning together. So, hindi lang ikaw yung mananalo. Kasama dapat yung lahat ng students mo and other teachers.
Wow, napakaganda naman ng sagot. Taga saan po kayo, sir?
Cavite po.
Cavite. Thank you so much. At nag-meet po tayo, Tacloban, Cavite. We are one in this platform. So sir's answer is we all win together. Very good. Because when you teach like a champion, the first keyword is being a winner. Winning, and sabi nga ni sir, you win together, team. Together, everyone achieves more. TEAM. You're a team. Second, undefeated. Undefeated in the sense na hindi ka papatalo. Do you agree? Okay. Now, for example, now it's online distance learning. That's the trend now. So, are you just gonna be one of those teachers? Sus, ayoko na yan. Di ko na kaya yan. Tama na. Or are you the type na, sige, I want to learn. Paano nga ba yan? How does it work? So, the fact that you're here, it means that you are feeling undefeated. Hindi ka papatalo. Of course, when you are a teacher champion or a champion teacher, you defend. You are a defender of how teaching should be in the classroom, whether digital or whether physical. Okay? So those are some keywords. And I'd like to share to you one of my favorite educational philosophers' sayings. Teachers, can we all read together? 1, 2, 3, go.
Teachers
Teachers
do
do
not take
not
their own
take
Their own
education
education
seriously,
who
who
do not
do not
study,
study,
who
who make
make
little
little
effort
effort to keep
to
abreast
keep
of events,
abreast
have
of
no moral
events,
authority to
have
coordinate
no
the
moral
activities of
authority
the
to
classroom.
coordinate the activities of the classroom.
Wow, okay. Ang saya yung pakinggan, parang succession yung nangyayari, no? But nonetheless, this is a very powerful message by Paulo Freire, the author of one of the greatest books in education, The Pedagogy of the Oppressed. So he said, teachers do not take their own education seriously. Hindi man lang nag-aaral para ma-improve yung sarili. They don't have authority in the classroom. And so you are one of those teachers who actually have authority because you're trying to learn more of being abreast of the events. Why are we here? Because the best teachers are the best learners. Okay? Please don't ever forget that. He who dares to teach must never cease to learn. And this is, I really put it here, my dear teachers, because it's to remind you that we are endless and perennial learners. Sabi nga, di ba, sa Education 4.0 ngayon, we are lifelong learners. What are the objectives of this webinar? Ito ngayon, session 1, okay? So first is to equip and review the different modalities of teaching. Second, it's to engage on where are we now? Nasaan na ba ang Pilipinas? Kasi nasaan na ba ang buong mundo? What are we doing and where are we heading to? Third, we elaborate on the essentials. Remember, remote teaching and learning is just a small bit.
Mag-install na lang.
Okay, Ma'am Dan, kindly mute your microphone now. Okay, so as I was saying, we have to know where we are. We have to elaborate on the essentials. Remote teaching is just a little part of online distance learning. So we have to know nasaan na tayo. So reminder, keep calm and teach like a champion. You facilitate thinking. You engage minds. You listen to questions. You encourage risk. You support struggle, you cultivate dreams, you learn every day, you teach. You are a champion teacher. And today is just a reminder for you na, sige, balik tayo doon. Okay? The parts of this webinar are the core principles of 21st century teaching and learning the now. How can we apply the 21st century skills into online distance learning, into remote teaching learning? Two, we will be discussing ano nga ba talaga ang remote teaching. What does it mean? Now that it's a pandemic, it's a health crisis, what can we do? And the third, of course, I want to share to you what did STCDCFI do in the 3 months that were covered in the last quarters of the school year. Kasi we received the lockdown March 13, 2020. Mag-e-exam pa lang yun ng third quarter. We still had 1 more quarter to go. Okay? And so, what did we do in this remote time of teaching? Handa na ba kayo, my dear teachers? Wala kayong choice. Kailangan maging handa. Okay?
Handa na!
Yes. Naaalala mo na malapit ng pasukan for other teachers in Visayas and Mindanao and even in Luzon. Ang start ng school year nila is this July, end of July. So good luck po. Sana hindi po ganyan yung itsura nyo pag malapit ng pasukan. Balita ko masaya ka sa trabaho mo, oo, bes. Oo. Kailangan maging masaya. So this is now the part na kailangan talaga nating buhayin ang pagtuturo natin whether online. Syempre, wala akong kawala doon. Ginawan ako ng mga estudyante ko before ng meme because one way to attract attention of the students, lalo na ngayon through online learning, is images, memes. So I hope that you get the point of giving them visual prompts. Ano ang mas nakakakilig pa sa I love you? Lalo na sa mga walang jowa, may sahod na. Okay? As a teacher, let me just remind you na hindi lang po, of course, hindi naman to lucrative, but we have to be mindful also of the remuneration. So be teachable. Hindi lahat ng alam mo ay tama at hindi lahat ng tama ay alam mo. So I love this line by Dr. Julius because the point here of this webinar is to remind us that we have to be lifelong learners. Teaching is not a delivery system. It is not only a delivery system, it is an art form. So ngayong online distance learning, your art form will be tested. How will you curate information? How will you create information? You know, lately I made a YouTube channel, not for social media, whatever, but for educational series. Sabi ko, it's high time that each teacher has a YouTube channel. Hindi lang po dahil mukha tayong artista or gusto nating mag-artista, hindi. But to educate, because YouTube is one of the art forms. Are you getting me, teachers? Nandiyan pa ba kayo? Just raise your hand. You know, there is an option here, raise your hand. Yan. So pag nag-raise ka ng hand, it means that you're good. You're there. Okay? So I'd like to, of course, share to you the 5 educational trends and models applied today since 2017. The first one, let's just have the spotlight. Ayan. The first is differentiated instruction. So when it's differentiated instruction, the main point, sabi ko sa inyo, mahilig ako sa keywords lang, ha? The only thing you have to remember pag DI is a variety. Variety of techniques, variety of activities, iba-iba, as long as it meets the needs of the learners. Second is OBE. For those teaching in higher education, yung mga, I believe there are some teachers here who are teaching in college and universities. Alam na alam nyo to, OBE is about product-based performance and assessment. So it's all about outcomes. It's all about products. The third is UDL, the Universal Design for Learning. Ito medyo bago-bago to. And this is one of the educational administrators' main concern. How do we really put everything in a continuum? If this is the first time that you heard about UDL, I suggest that you start just knowing what it is. How do we really continue the process of teaching? Fourth is brain-based, my favorite, na tinuro ko last year sa STCDCFI teachers. When we say BBL, I only knew this during my thesis in LaSalle, that when you use BBL, you have the whole body to work on. You use maximum brain activity. So for example, if I teach science about cell division, for example, mitosis. So I use the hands, So this is prophase, interphase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. So those are the different parts of meiosis na kailangan ginagamit yung katawan. Okay, that's BBL. And the last, ito na yung pinakabago ngayon, blended learning. And remote learning is almost the same as blended learning. This is when there are connections online and offline. And as teachers, we have to be wise enough. How do we really blend? Ano ba yung tamang blend ng asynchronous and synchronous activities? Today, the new trend, this is the paradigm shift I'm telling you about, distance ed. Okay, and I believe there are some teachers here who are taking up masters of distance education, online distance learning. So we have to know what is DE. And I like their tagline, it's making education go the distance. Parang kanta lang, no? Now we have to go the distance. Syempre, when we speak of education going the distance, sino yung mag-e-effort dyan? No other but us teachers. Okay? What do we have to imbibe? Review lang po ito because this is still applicable in online distance learning. Number 1, the full cup theory. Please read. 1, 2, 3, go. You cannot give what you don't have. Okay? That's very self-explanatory. So we cannot give what we don't have. Hindi pwede na magtuturo tayo ng online distance learning. Puro Facebook lang. Mali. Hindi pwede na magre-remote teaching and learning tayo. Puro module lang na paper and pen pa. Mali din. That's why we have to equip because you should give what you already have. 2, the Flynn theory. Can we read? 1, 2, 3, go.
Due to technology,
Students
students are
becoming more intelligent.
Okay, true or false? Of course, very true. Nakakahiya nga, di ba? Minsan yung estudyante natin, mas alam pa yung sinasabi kaysa sa atin because they already Googled it. So for example, there are certain questions. Ma'am kita, paano ganito ganyan? Sabihin ko lang, IGMT. Sabihin ng students ko, what's that? I-Google mo te. Of course, it's a joke. That's a joke. But in reality, it's really used by students. I-Google lang nila, alam na nila. Third, the 3 laws of teaching. There are 9 laws that we have learned when we were in undergrad. But the 3 laws that are very applicable today is the law of readiness. Okay, what you saw in this webinar, bini-build up ko muna. If you noticed, I kept on telling you that we have to learn how to learn. That's the law of readiness. I set your mood. Kailangan i-mood set mo muna yung estudyante mo na ready na siyang makinig sa'yo. Because even in online distance learning, they won't do it unless they are ready to do it. Lalo na ngayon na nasa bahay lang. Ma, manonood na lang akong TV. Ma, matutulog na lang ako. Sir, pwede bang Mobile Legends lang muna? So that's why you have to readily set their mood. Exercise, okay? The law of exercise, the law of how frequent your synchronous and asynchronous meetings are, and the law of effect. Later, you'll find out that blended learning or remote teaching and learning is not anymore more of achievement, but it's more of formative assessment. It's not anymore learning or assessment of learning, but it's assessment for learning. That's more of ODL, okay? And of course, UNESCO's 4 pillars, hindi ko pwede hindi sabihin yan because that is those are the cornerstones of education. Learning to know, to do, to be, to live together. And today, as teachers, you're trying to know more about remote teaching and learning so that you can do it in a couple of weeks' time. And then you can become the online distance teacher that we should be. And then we can live together harmoniously, okay, in this online platform. These are the must-knows. Okay, the must know. The big question is, I attended a webinar a couple of days ago by Phoenix. Tinanong kami, lahat kaming administrators and middle administrators, are you ready for the school year? Handa na ba kayo? Okay, so for some teachers, of course, from Luzon and Visayas and Mindanao, some can say na, ma'am, hindi pa talaga. When can you say that you are ready? When you have a learning continuity plan in your school and you already know how to implement it, alam na alam nyo na yung gagawin. Slightly ready, if you have a learning continuity plan, hindi nyo pa masyadong alam yung yung gagawin, pero nagsa-start na kayong gumawa. That's slightly ready. Not ready at all is when your school doesn't have a learning continuity plan, hindi pa nagko-coordinate ang mga teachers, wala pang nangyayari, ni module, wala ka pang ginagawa. Okay, so right now, I hope most of you teachers are in moderately ready, slightly ready, or ready. Okay? And the fact that you're here, it means na gusto nyo pang maging ready. The challenge is to keep learning and going. What does instruction look like in the new normal? This is one of the biggest questions today. Where are we now? Nasaan na ba ang Pilipinas? I took this as a screenshot in one of the webinars. So mapapansin nyo po as I go along that they are from webinars that I had, and the source is there. Okay, hindi ko po plagiarize or finorge. It's there. So of course, our president Duterte said, "Bahala na, wala nang aral, laro na lang, unless I'm sure that they are really safe." And what does that mean? Hanggat wala pang vaccine ang Pilipinas, hindi muna mag-face-to-face. Medyo mahirap yon. Pero wala tayong magagawa because we don't want to risk the health. So since that President Executive Order, we have now been shifting to Industrial Revolution 4.0. Ito, parang this is now the big concept. Okay, this will be further explained in our next webinars in Educ 4.0. But I just put it here, nakasama na po tayo. Industrial Revolution, okay, in the 1st century or 18th century, Industrial Revolution 1.0 was all about machines. Industrial Revolution, the 2nd Industrial Revolution was all about what? Electricity. Okay, the invention of light bulb. Alam to ng mga AP teachers. The 3rd Industrial Revolution was about computer technology. Ngayon, 4th na. So ano na ba ngayon? It's now all about artificial intelligence, innovation. Okay, building online concepts, whether or not face-to-face. And today, the challenge of Education 4.0 is that the internet changes the paradigm for industry and students. Okay, and sometimes yung challenge because some concepts are still taught according to Educ 2.0 because of the digital divide. Okay, so the new essence today is e-learning, and that is what remote teaching and learning is all about. Today, DepEd gave this, okay, in their learning continuity plan. They said there will be 4 modalities of teaching. Okay, wait lang, may lamok po. Okay, so one is face-to-face. Of course, we all know, lalo na sa NCR or sa mga lugar na ECQ, bawal na yon. Here in Tacloban, there is a DepEd order until November or until further notice na wala mo ng face-to-face. So they call it F2F. The 2nd is distance learning. The 3rd is blended learning. And the 4th is homeschooling. Those are the 4 learning modalities that we are trying to adapt. Ito na yung binigay nila. I don't need to read it. I just want you to know, nilagay ko siya dyan so that you'll be aware what curriculum are we trying to adapt. Paalala lang po, we are still under K-12 curriculum. Pero yung learning competencies, yun po yung medyo na-modify. Okay? So we are now adapting the MELCs. So when we say MELCs, alam niyo na yan, most essential learning competencies. What is it about? Streamlining of K-12 curriculum to MELCs, allowing different learning modalities. Okay? And when we speak of MELCs, it's still under K-12 curriculum that as a teacher, you are still a designer. You are still a facilitator. You are still an assessor. Pero nag-iba lang ng platform. Because today, you will now be an online designer, online facilitator, online assessor. And even if it's offline, modular approach kayo, yung paper and pen, kailangan mo pa rin mag-monitor. Paano? How will you monitor? Still through online. As simple as Facebook chat or messenger chat. That is actually already an online way of communicating. Of course, the 21st century skills are still there. Hindi po mawawala. I remember I let the teachers of STCDCFI memorize this. Dati, 4 lang yun. And then naging 5. Now we have 7 C's. What are the 7 21st century skills? It's there. Okay? And I hope that you are applying this in your respective teaching methods. When we speak of MELCs, these are competencies that a learner needs for continuation to subsequent grades and ultimately for a successful life. That's based on DepEd order. Kung hindi mo pa nakikita ang MELCs, you have to go to this website, okay? You know what? A month ago, meron silang ni-release ng most essential learning competencies. And then yesterday, I checked again. They had a final copy. So maybe yung na-download mo a month ago, yung luma, meron na pong bago ulit. So sabi mo, Ma'am Kital, may bago na naman. Well, yes. Because in the new MELCs, 60% of the original K-12 learning competencies were removed. Imagine, teachers, from 14,171 competencies across subjects, 5,000 na lang. Okay? So I hope you download the final copy of the MELCs. And that's what it looks like. And here, these are the characteristics. I will not really discuss that because this is just part of where we are now. Okay? And if you see this graph, ano po yung pinaka-apektado sa mga nawalan ng learning competencies? If you try to look at it, it's English. Tingnan niyo po, English yung pinaka-nabawasan ng competencies. And I find this very ironic, to be honest, because in Philippines, English ang pinaka-marami ang non-readers and slow learners. Okay? And of course, here in science and other subjects, meron ding mga natanggal. So lately, DepEd gave this, and a lot of private schools were pushed to submit the following. Ito po yung trinabaho ni Ma'am Annie for our school, and I'm sure for the other teachers, your school head and the principals also did this. And ang pasimuno po nito is USEC Annalyn Sevilla. She made sure, because there were a lot of private schools complaining, bakit kailangan pa namin mag-submit ng ganyan? But of course, we would offer online distance learning because we are equipped. But then yung point ni USEC is that we just want to make sure there's quality education. Okay? And in the Philippines, we rank 59 over 79 nations in the Global Connectivity Index. So it means that the global connection, our connectivity level in the Philippines is only 59th. Number 1 is USA. Number 4 is Singapore. Number 6 is Japan. So alam natin na medyo mahina talaga ang bandwidth ng internet. And 80% of Araling's teachers said they have no reliable internet at home, which is sad. That's why ito yung mga lumalabas ng mga results. Ito po yung lumalabas na results. During pandemic, student climbs a mountain to send class requirement. How far would you walk just to comply with class requirement? Nakakaawa in a way, but it also speaks of how our digital experience in the Philippines is happening. The digital divide, if you don't know, my dear teachers, this is the economic, educational, and social inequalities between those who have computers and online access and those who do not. And in the Philippines, again, we experience this. Inuna ko po tong challenge para alam natin how to counteract the challenge. Are you still with me? Are you still with me, dear participants? Okay, kahit thumbs up na lang. So at this point, there is a digital divide in generation. Hi, sweetie, how was school today? Oh, Dad, you can just read it on my blog. Okay, so newspaper, blogger. And then terms, low-key, shocked. Alam mo ba yon as a teacher? Dapat alam mo yun kasi hindi mo lang alam. Chinachat ka na pala ng ganyan. And what does that mean? In the digital divide, there is a skills gap. Aminin po natin. And I find this tweet very funny. Sabi ni Angie Maxwell, found the kid playing with her dog instead of Zooming with her teacher. She told me not to worry. She took a screenshot of herself paying attention, then cut her video and replaced it with a picture. It's gallery view of 20 kids, Mom. They can't tell. She's 10. Okay? So it means as a 10-year-old, alam na niya how to trick her teacher. Na kunwari nakikinig siya, but in reality, ando na siya naglalaro. Okay? So that's a skills gap between teachers and students. So tayong teacher, we really have to know the Zooming, even this Zoom, as simple as raising your hand, using the chat box, alamin natin. Okay? Skills gap between teachers. There are teachers who are high-tech, okay? Digitally savvy. There are teachers also who are non-savvy. Yung sabi nga ng isang speaker na, high-tech, hindi talaga kaya. Pero I believe that the fact that you're here, it means that you're trying to be high in engagement technology. That's why, in spite of these challenges in the digital divide, we have options. And this is now where remote teaching and learning takes place. Distance learning takes place between teacher and learners who are geographically remote from each other, meaning not near or, of course, far away from each other during instruction. And those are the three types of distance learning: MDL, modular, online, and TV radio-based. Pwede din po ang school nyo mag-activate ng sarili nyong radio station or even TV broadcasting station online. No problem if that's how it should be to maximize, di ba? Okay, so modular distance learning, just take bullet A. The teacher takes responsibility of monitoring the progress of the learners. It's through what? Email, telephone, text message, IM, chat. Ito na yung ginawa natin all throughout, di ba? The power of messenger. And then there will be para-teachers. When we say para-teachers, this is now the involvement of parents. So especially sa mga kinder to grade 3 students and teachers, you will really be highly engaged with the parents. Okay? So now we move on to part 2. Tapos na po tayo sa part 1. Let's now go to part 2 of the webinar, remote teaching. We have now known where we are. Nasaan na ba ang Pilipinas? Now we engage on what we can do. Are you ready? Okay. So remote teaching, it occurs when the learner and instructor or the source of information are separated by time. Remember, the source cannot be the teacher alone. It can be the student. It can be your online provider, okay, your resource. Are separated by time and distance and therefore cannot meet in a traditional classroom. You know what? This is interesting because when we say remote teaching, it occurs in emergency situations. Information is typically transmitted via the following: email, DB, discussion board, video conference. Itong ginagawa natin, this is video conferencing. Audio bridge, so that no physical presence in the classroom is required. It is also known as hybrid learning or blended learning. Synonymous pala sila. Okay? When we speak of remote learning, it can occur both synchronous and asynchronous. At this point in your life as a teacher, dapat alam mo yung difference. Na synchronous, it's real time, meaning nakikita mo sila, you know, even through video, yung ganitong mode, you can still communicate with them real time. But when it is asynchronous, you give them the time, just give them the activity and they can work on it on their own. So that's the main difference of synchronous and asynchronous. So distance education or remote training. When the lockdown happened last March, we have already actually implemented remote teaching and learning because, of course, there's no physical location or in-person education. It is different. Now, take a look at this. It is different from virtual learning classroom or an actual online course. Kasi pag remote teaching pala, it means that it happens in emergency situation that pose a threat to student safety. So wala kayong choice na instead of face-to-face, lipat agad, transition agad, shift agad to remote learning and teaching. Unlike an online distance learning course, let's say the UP Open University, meron talaga silang what? Learning platform. Meron, it's structured. But remote learning is not structured. This happens in a time of stress. Tanong, nasa stress period ba tayo ng buhay natin ngayon? Honestly, yes. The fact that it's very threatening to go outside, you might catch COVID. This is a time of stress. So the specific name of our teaching and learning today, especially when the lockdown happened, is remote teaching and learning. To be most effective with remote learning, a well-defined structure must be in place. Okay, so you can screenshot this. Anyway, I'll give you the copy of the PowerPoint through our Google Drive if you are registered only. You should read the difference between online and remote. And one thing that is a clear difference there, na pag remote, the classes are designed in a face-to-face sense, but are suddenly being conducted to remote learning, to a non-face-to-face because of an emergency. Okay? So again, discussion boards are not utilized, but on a limited basis. Lectures may consist of synchronistic, and of course, you have to have assignments that are meaningful. Learner's context, capacity to be self-directed. Ito na. Access to learning resources and technology. Parents, home, and community support. Now you may ask, Ma'am Kitel, paano nga pag walang internet sa bahay? Paano nga pag free data lang? That's not the time the teacher has to be innovative in ways na kahit messenger lang, how can you convey your message? So that's a point of online distance learning also, is that there is a prerequisite na kahit data meron ang bata. Okay? You at least your school should offer. Okay? Paano nga pag walang internet? What do we do? What do we resort to? Printed learning kits. The actual paper and pen modules. Okay? So in STCDCFI, the teachers have been starting to make their own modules because that's a backup. If online learning and teaching doesn't happen, we have a backup of a printed learning module. They can also save it in USB. Okay? Andiyan pa ba kayo? Are you still with me? Sir? Ma'am? Okay. Are we learning so far? Okay. Sige po. So, you can save it and distribute files through USB drives and recorded videos. For example, this Zoom, hindi nakapasok yung co-teacher nyo pero nakaregister. We can, of course, record this and we upload this on YouTube or Facebook Live, whatever, and then they can consume it later. Okay, those are, I love the learning resources. I hope you access these types of files in Edutopia or EdTech because dun maganda yung mga success stories. What else? Of course, Zoom, Messenger, Google Hangouts, WhatsApp. Okay, those are different online tools and technology web-based tools that we can do for synchronous activities. Okay? Radio and TV broadcasting, this may be hard, but pwede naman kung merong equipment ang school nyo, that the teachers would really act as yung mga actors and then we can broadcast it. Yung ginagawa na to before ng ABS-CBN, you know, ng GMA, Sineskwela, yung mga ganun, bata, batibot, yung mga ganun. This is an actual radio or TV broadcasting example. Printed learning kits, instructional resources, your textbooks, okay? This year, textbooks will already be optional. Kasi yung iba, bili ng textbook, nagagamit nga ba? Okay? Printed study guides, reading lists, and projects. So those are the recommendations of different organizations, especially World Bank, that we can do if internet is not accessible. Okay, and we can store them in clouds such as OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, okay, iCloud. So kaya naman if you already have the equipment and even the device. Okay, so part of remote learning is, as sabi natin kanina, synonymous is blended learning. So this is the interconnection. What is blended learning? Well, that's another webinar later in the next sessions na natin yan. But I just put it here for you to know. Okay, that in blended learning and remote teaching, the technique number 7 of Teach Like a Champion are the 4 M's. 1, your objectives must be manageable. In short, simple lang, wag nang habaan. Okay, kung ano yung gusto mong target, yun na yun. 2, measurable. So again, more of formative assessment tayo, more of worksheet, more of synchronous games, gamification, and then just have one final exam or summative. So in online distance learning and blended learning, it's more formative. 3, planning of objectives, and even, of course, your class should be made first. So hindi pa ding nagtatamad-tamaran si teacher. Bawal naman talagang tamad, especially if you're already in momentum. So you have to make it first. And the last, most important lang, this is very applicable for you. You have to ask yourself, is the learning experience the best use of students' time? Or, Ma'am Kitel, parang waste of time yung ginawa namin. So at beginning of your instructional design, isipin mo, what is the best way to cut the time? Na MW, 1 hour of asynchronous, and then TTHF, bahala na sila gumawa ng output mo. Remember, it's more of outcomes-based na pag online learning. What's the point? Now, this is the main question that you will ask me, because this webinar is centered on enhancing learning outcomes in remote teaching and learning. So what's the point, Ma'am Kitel, of remote teaching and learning? Okay, 1 is this: design of online course and multiple instructional strategies. In our coming sessions, we will teach you how to do it. In an online course with instant access to vast resources and data, students are no longer dependent on faculty. So ang meaning nito, my dear teachers, you are just curator of information. Curate. So you manage and align it and logically arrange it, but you do not, you're not the source of it. Second, learning is collaborative, contextual, and active. What is applicable in Visayas, in Tacloban, may not be applicable in South Cotabato, where there is where there are different factors involved, diba? So it has to be contextualized. And the third, for me, the most important in this part is your instructional design should be based on the ADDIE model. ADDIE means analyze first, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. Okay. As a result, the quality, quantity, and patterns of communication students practice during learning improves. Okay, it improves all the patterns, the quantity, quality. So the first, again, multiple instructional strategies. Get the best from the internet and arrange it properly. You don't have to have a lot. Actually, in an effective online design course, the tatlong resources lang. It will suffice. The big idea here. Can we all read? 1, 2, 3, go.
Remote teaching and learning is not
Remote
only
teaching
learning,
and learning is not only learner-centered, but learning process-centered.
Yon. Learning centered na tayo. It's the process of learning. Okay? Second, self-directed learning. When we say SDL, it's the same as self-paced learning. So this is the point of remote teaching, that you give them the outcome, and then you give them the objectives, and then they are the ones who will do it on their own, independent, individualized. We're trying to develop proactive and responsible learners who are more purposeful. They also tend to retain and make use of what they learn. Remember, ang mga bata, very pragmatic na ngayon. They have to understand na, bakit ko ba gagawin? What's the point? So you have to make them understand na kailangan mo tong gawin because, okay? So proactive learning. Get them busy with open online resources. Actually, sobrang dami sa internet. You just have to choose the best. Virtual museums, ed videos, learning modules, worksheets, packets, and gamification. Okay? Kung hindi kaya na nakuha mo lang sa internet, try to create your own. Okay? Later, I'll show you an example of what I did na immersion namin, field trip dapat ng mga bata sa farm. Hindi naman sila nakapunta sa farm. Talagang gumawa ko ng YouTube video where I showed them the farm for their immersion process. Okay? The big idea here, kanina, the big idea, learning centered na. This time, it's now the process of going up the ladder from pedagogy, meaning the art and science of teaching children. Peda came from the word pedia, means child. So pedagogy to andragogy. Andragogy means the art and science of teaching adults. From that, di ba, ganun tayo before. You will now zero in heutagogy. Okay? This may be the first time you've heard of it. Ma'am Kital, ano ba yung heutagogy na yan? Bakit ngayon ko lang yan narinig? When we say heutagogy, you are now already developing the art and science of making students self-directed learners. Okay? They have to be responsible. Ma'am Kital, teach ako ng grade 1. They cannot be self-directed. So what can we do? For K to 6, that's now the time that you have to scaffold them once in a while. And of course, allow parents to supervise. Parents are valuable resources. So dito papasok ang Facebook Messenger na gamit, alam natin yan. And I admire, Facebook for giving free data, free text, and Facebook Live. There are really kindergarten teachers na nag-Facebook Live habang nagtuturo ng sounds, a, e, i, o, u. Facebook Live ginamit. And it was effective. It was shared all over media. Okay? So as we move along, the point here is you have to make them busy. Allow them to go to this website, allow them to open this, allow them to watch this video, and then react. Remember, reflective ang ODL. 3, ito na yung sinasabi ko kanina, the use of synchronous versus asynchronous. So again, kung hindi mo pa alam yung difference, live and real time, that's synchronous. That's annotate. Favorite kong spotlight. So live and real time, that's synchronous. And then asynchronous is when participants log in their most convenient time. Here in the Philippines, sa tingin mo, ano yung mas okay? Synchronous or asynchronous due to the digital divide? What do you think is more effective? Is it real time or on their own pace? What do you think, teachers?
On their own pace.
Combination of the two.
Okay, very good. It's actually asynchronous. Kasi hindi lahat may access sa internet at the same time. So you just give them the asynchronous type na pwede nilang ma-access during their time. Okay? As we move along, this is a table that gives you the different techniques. Okay? So again, we'll give you this PowerPoint later na makikita mo pag classroom lecture, ano bang dapat gawin sa asynchronous? Google Hangouts, Meet, Zoom. Pero pag asynchronous, you upload it in Google Drive and then or YouTube, and then they just access it. Okay? Another technique, student presentations. Okay, so these are strategies na you use digital Google Jamboard, you use Google Forms as quizzes, okay? Google Hangouts, more of Google itong ginagamit. And even in laboratory works, there will be virtual simulations, virtual labs through YouTube videos and even Khan Academy. Okay. The fourth, what's the point of remote learning? Ano ulit yung first? Instructional design and multiple variety. Second one, naalala pa ba? Okay. The first, instructional design. The third, synchronous, asynchronous. Fourth, ODL and assessment. Okay. So when we speak of ODL, I've been repeating it kanina, that in assessment, it's more formative. So UNESCO defines ODL as a broad term that embraces online, distance, external studies, flexible, and ang pinakabago ngayon, MOOC, massive open online resources. Okay, designing, delivering, and managing instruction solely online or at a distance. And how do we give online assessment? Okay, so this will be furthered in the next webinars, but this is just a run through. Now, we still follow ang walang kamatayang Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so of course, you still use multiple choice through Google Forms, okay, through online platforms, animations, and case studies. Assessment now, from discussion to papers to project. So, ito yung technique mo. So, yung mga chat nyo, thread nyo, that's under formative pala. Tapos, itong mga formative and summative, this can be your technique in grading them. Pero yung summative mo na, portfolio or even presentation, gone are the days na maglo-long exam ka na 50 items or 100 items. Wala na po yun. As simple as a 20-item online test, pwede na. It can summarize. Now, anong challenge dito? More of higher order thinking skills. Because remember, if you use lower order thinking skills, they will just cheat and Google it. So, dapat more of situational and higher order thinking skills and questions mo. Okay? Online education. The last but not the least, the apps. Okay? Now, I want to give you a run through of the applications that you can use. Okay? Hindi ko po spoon feed, but I will give you the website for you to go on your own. Asynchronous na ha. When we end this webinar, ang immediate assignment nyo, go to that website. So, Common Sense Education. This is for preschool, primary, and grade school. Okay? Go to commonsenseeducation.com. You can find the apps and games that you can use for your students. Okay? Go to a pinch of kindergarten for the preschool. Meron ba tayong mga preschool teachers dito? Go to a pinch of kindergarten.com, a pinch of kinder.com. And then dun po yung mga websites and games. Okay, for primary, I want you to go to this website, the homeschoolvillage.com. Okay, that's where the apps are for in teaching math, science, English in the primary level. Okay, for grade school, for intermediate, even high school, go to @school. Nandun po yung mga apps for Android and even Mac, Apple. Okay? Letter learning apps. So more of kids level. For core elementary teacher apps na kailangan meron ka, ito, storytelling. Okay? Just look at the title and try to download it kung ano yung magagamit mo. Okay? Some of this, ito favorite ko to, Socrative. Okay, Socrative. This is question and answer for your students. And of course, I use Edmodo. For same for intermediate and junior high, for teaching math, these are the websites and even apps that you can use. Are you still there? Do you think these are helpful, teachers? Sa tingin nyo ba magagamit nyo? So I want you to go to the website, okay, na mapupuntahan nyo so that it can help you discover. So it's up to you now. For higher levels, junior high and senior high, ito po yung pwede natin. Some are paid, pero syempre, piliin natin yung free. Doon tayo sa free apps. Pero kung may pera ka naman, may budget ka, go ka na sa paid. Lalo na tong Quizlet, maganda to. Okay. So for Google Classrooms, you can use quizzes, Classcraft. Ang nagamit ko lang dito is Peer Deck, Flated, and Explain Everything. Ito yung mga apps na pwedeng pang interactive, asynchronous activities. Okay? So this is what I told you, yung Socrative student. You just pose a question and they will give you an immediate short response type. Dito makikita ang essays. If you're teaching English or reading and writing, this is the app that you can use. And for me, ang pinakagamit ko in science is the periodic table quiz. Even the science games, the mga trivial games, pwede yung magamit for the students. That can be a pre-test or a post-test. Okay. So that's an example of Quizlet. Nagko-quiz talaga, ikaw yung gagawa. Okay? And Android, if your phone is Android, you can use these apps. Kahoot for games, Nearpod, Socrative Teacher. Okay, ito naman nakita ko lang to sa Pinterest. If you are that type na sobrang interested ka, please just type in the internet, the 70 best apps for teachers and students. As lalabas lahat yan that you can download. Okay? As we move along, of course, we go to the third. Ito pa, more best learning apps for preschool and high school. As you can see, grade school. As you can see, some are free, some are paid. Ayan. So, of course, the point here, my dear teachers, is that you collect the best apps and then you select the best, okay? So, parang jowa lang, collect ng collect, pero you filter, and then you try to select ano ba yung pinaka-akma. And as recommendation, I want you to choose at least 3. Wag yung sobrang dami mong dinownload, pero hindi mo naman nagagamit. Please choose 3 that you can use. Okay, that will really be functional for the subject that you are teaching. And as we go to the part 3 to end my webinar, I just want to give you the 8 teaching strategies of award-winning online educators that I learned in my online class in De La Salle, now online distance learning. 1, authentic and relevant course material, plan and design. 2, multimedia resources. This was already mentioned earlier. 3, allow students to create individually or collaboratively. Later, I'll show you examples of what students of STCDCFI have done. 4, student reflection on learning. Allow them to perceive, believe, and achieve. So ito, na-inspire ako the other day to write this tagline na when students reflect, they actually perceive their ideas, they believe in them, and then somehow they achieve more and more as they realize their potential. And the 5th, explain your purpose. Hindi pwedeng mawala itong explanation mo. Why are you even doing this? If you notice, as I go along this webinar, I always ask, what's the point? What's the point? Because yan na po ang trend ng mga students ngayon. They will ask, so, miss, and so, what about it? What's the purpose? What's the relevant to my life? Okay? And of course, these are some techniques. Students have a range of abilities and not everyone will disclose. Know your students' technological capabilities. So kung ito yung bata na wala talagang access to Zoom, wag mong ipilit na mag-Zoom ang klase. Okay? If most of them are not really into Zoom, then go to another messenger rooms. And I'm happy na yung messenger, meron ng rooms ngayon that they can share screen. Okay? Text is universal. As you can see, wag masyadong wordy, short but simple. Okay? Assessment is for learning and not of learning. Some students need additional processing time. So make sure that the time that you give them is applicable and fair. Hindi yung nagbigay ka ngayon ngayong Friday, Monday agad. Okay? Using chat to decide on calling patterns. So later, for example, you use chat to ask your questions. What else? Number 6, real-world e-learning activities. 7, supplemental links to online resources. And the last one, 8, hands-on demo. Okay, so kung ikaw yung teacher na talagang gusto mo mag-demo in front of them, do it. Okay, those are the 8 strategies of award-winning online educators based on Harvard's research, okay, on online education. This is the template that you will use for STCDCFI teachers, which we will make in the future webinars. Not now. Pinapakita ko lang sa inyo what it looks like, okay? So this is now the learning log. Hindi na tayo gagamit ng learning plan, yung longhand learning plan natin, no. This will now be an online distance learning plan, okay? So your instructional design. So in summary, you have to recommend, the recommendations and implementations, know your students, know your technology, know your school. Of course, all the applications that you will use should be approved by your school's mission and vision, should be aligned with your school's philosophy and not otherwise. And of course, know yourself. Why did I choose this technology? The relevance. And the last, what are the costs? Magbabayad ba ang mga estudyante? Is it free? Etc. etc. Okay? Are you still with me, my dear teachers? Okay, I hope hindi information overload and you are learning. So as I see you, can you just thumbs up, wave, or raise your hand? Ayan, naka-thumbs up na yung iba. Very good. Okay, so what did STCDCFI do during the remote learning? So this is the last part of my webinar. I'll just give you examples of what we did during the lockdown. Sabi ko nga, my 3 months pa practically. So what did we do? One is offline learning. It's really, these were taken by the home academic activities sent by our teachers in the primary, intermediate, preschool, and high school levels, okay? We are a basic education school. So offline learning, the power of modules and packets, and of course, worksheets from their textbooks and from teacher-made worksheets. So yun yung ginamit. Okay? So of course, instead of more of writing, more of doing. The power of remote teaching is outcomes-based, output-based. So those are examples. Those are examples. Some maximize the use of text, of chat messaging, and even Viber with the parents. So don't ipopost. And there's no problem with that as long as you know how to curate properly. Okay? Hindi porket, messenger, hindi na yan. No, that's actually helpful. Okay? Documentation of home activities, as you can see, offline and online. Ginagamit ang diary nila, chat messages, and even the Google Classroom. So in my classes, of course, I have seen that in synchronous teaching, very powerful ang Zoom. When I taught grade 11 general biology, they were 20 in my class, or 19, 18, but there were only 8 to 11 na on-off yung pagpasok sa Zoom. And then I recorded it, and then they got it afterwards. Choose your learning management system. For me, ang pinaka gamay ko na is Edmodo. So if you are not really familiar, this is now the time na kailangan pumili ka ng isa. Okay? So this is what Edmodo looks like. For those who don't know, ano ba itsura ng Edmodo? This is the basic interface with my classes. And then you can post anything, announcements, and then your handouts. You can also have a folder wherein you can put all the Gen Bio worksheets to be answered, the Gen Bio PowerPoint presentations. They can just download it. So that's an example of asynchronous, okay, activity. And kayang-kaya to kahit ng intermediate. In the grading, tingnan nyo, makikita nyo agad, last set of worksheets, 31 not turned in, 15 graded, meaning 15 lang yung nag-submit out of 46 students who viewed it, okay, or some did not view. And you can also, this is what I tell you na curating knowledge. Everything is already in the internet, pero you just have to arrange it for them. So videos to watch, manonood sila nito, and then answer the worksheets that I gave them on gas laws and chemical reactions for grade 10 science yan. So before the lockdown, my students were making a brain model. And then dapat magpa-present na sila sa performance task, hindi sila nakapag-present. So what did they do? They made a video out of it. So that's one concrete example of remote teaching, nag-shift bigla to digital. So if you don't know what other LMS can be, you can use Schoology. After this, type. And if you want to sign up, you can be an instructor, student, parent, free. That's for free. That's another learning management system. In LaSalle, they use Canvas. Ito medyo mas complicated. This is for higher education, senior high to college to grad school. Ito yung ginagamit ng LaSalle, canvas.com. Canvas. So pero maganda siya. Why? Nandiyan na lahat. As you can see, announcements, people, modules, grades, and then you can just put your topics per session. Okay? In Stanford, it was mentioned earlier in my introduction that I attended a web course on organizational analysis. So you can just go to coursera.org. Ito po, teachers. This will help you. Some are free, lalo na ngayong pandemic, so please maximize. Yung sa akin, it was paid for a minimum amount, $20. Okay? But sobrang grabe yung learning mo doon because it's for 10 weeks. Of course, there's a final exam that you have to pass in order to get the certificate from the school. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Okay, so every quiz, every video na napapanood mo, it's there. So go to coursera.org. Yan. So in our school, we maximize the use of Facebook page. Okay, almost all of our students' works are there. So that's what our students made for their class in Contemporary Philippine Arts from the regions under the class of Sir Jerks. Pukrat and Siplati, that's the Waray terms for those who are not from Tacloban for open your eyes and take a look. So Pukrat and Siplati. So they made their own video, they created their own videos. This is what I told you that I had to make a YouTube channel. So I made a 15-minute video on an ocular virtual tour to Paraclete Farm. Instead of them coming to the farm, I made the farm go to them. So they just have to go to the YouTube link. Okay, so tayong teachers, we have to create. Khan Academy is another powerful, okay, source of information. Dito ako kumukuha ng best science videos. Hindi na ako kailangan maghanap. I just go there, I type the course, and there are for English, math, social studies, just check. Ako science, so most of them. And then I just give them the link, okay, for them to watch. So my students are already familiar of how to use Khan Academy. For online assessment, I use Quizmaker. It's a free account, but you can upgrade. But ako, there is a free 1-month trial. So ang ginagawa ko, I log in for 1 month and then I unsubscribe. Tapos after ilang days, I subscribe again para hindi ako magbayad. So it's an easy quiz maker. An example, so it links to your email kung sino yung mga nag-exam. Ibibigay mo lang yung link. And then you are the one making it. Pwedeng multiple choice, pwedeng drag down. It's up to you. There are different options. So yeah, this is the end of their quiz. Thanks for taking the quiz. You can edit that, of course. Peer Deck for Google Slides. Facebook, during the remote teaching and learning, they were the ones who created their own posters on how they felt regarding COVID 2019. Okay, these were examples of the posters. Even primary students making their own thank you cards for frontliners. Okay, and my favorites were when my students made their own songs and music videos, explaining how they can help others and how they felt literally and how they saw God in this times of pandemic. Okay, and basically the most powerful in this pandemic, based from experience, is Facebook Messenger. So I know that you have been using this again and again, and wag pong mag-alala. As long as you know how to curate data privacy, yung group lang nyo, that's okay. Be careful also of what you post. It should be highly professional. So an example would be the Google Classroom. Okay, this is what the interface of Google Classroom looks like with all your classes. You can create one. And again, these are examples from Sir Jericho's output on summative assessment. Now, instead of a paper and pen test, it was already what? An output-based They made their own medikit, they made their own face mask, and it's highly relevant because this is now the time of pandemic. So in short, my message is to make it creatively relevant. The products have to be relevant in your output. Okay, until the very end, virtual recognition, Facebook pa rin gamit namin, and we maximize Facebook, gamit na gamit po, until their awards and merits. Of course, we cannot have an actual culminating activity, so we made the culminating activity virtual. Okay, until their recognition rights, it was through video, and the minimum people lang po ang gumawa. I think it was only 4 to 6 people, but we came through with it because it's for them. As long as it's audiovisual, it still affects them. Okay? To end this webinar, I want to tell you that this is a major change. It's a shift. I told you, a paradigm shift from learner-centered to learning-centered, from face-to-face to online. Change is not easy, but it's possible. It's possible for you, and you can have your own stages. Maybe right now you are still in the pre-contemplation or contemplation. Maybe, Ma'am Kitel, kaya ko ata yan. Pwede din, nandito ka na sa preparation and action na, Ma'am Kitel, actually, I can do it. Let's do this. Or maybe you're now on the maintenance. It's possible, and I am doing it already, and so I will continue to do it. So I hope, dear teachers, that you are somehow on this area of contemplation to preparation. That's the point of having this webinar series. It's to prepare you on how to become an effective online distance teacher. And of course, the principle that you have to imbibe is the principle of beneficence. Do no harm. Whatever you do, don't harm your institution, don't harm your students, don't harm yourself. When it comes to giving information and taking information, always cite your source and avoid plagiarism, because students actually know if you have plagiarized, especially if it's coming from an online source. Just cite the source. Wala namang problema dun. Okay? And of course, as we near the end, I'd just like to share to you the 5 habits of an effective teacher. As we are now on an online distance learning, same principles apply. From Edutopia, you have to enjoy teaching. Always enjoy teaching process. Kahit online, medyo challenging ngayon, pero it's possible. Embrace the change that you are encountering now because you are resilient. Spread positivity. I know sometimes we are the ones who are negative, pero we can overcome that as long as we don't dwell. Ngayon, it is really uncertain. The pandemic is not yet going down, and I was shocked with the 2,500 cases in Manila and nationwide a couple of days ago. But I hope the vaccine will really be coming at the end of the year. So prayers are here. Find inspiration, whether it be in your family, at work, your hobby. Find a new hobby, whether it's baking or art, or try to find inspiration in yourself, okay, and in prayer. And if you do all those 4, if you continue to be abreast, of course, I'm sure that you will do the habit number 5, which is make a difference. Dear teachers, if you're not adaptive to changes, you will not survive. If you're not receptive to feedback, you will not improve. So at this time, I want you to be adaptive always to the change, and I'm thankful that you are actually already going through it now, and that you're receptive to the feedback so that you can improve. Lastly, you are an asset to your respective school or organization, and I hope that this first webinar was able to give you, to shed you true light on what really is remote teaching, where are we now, and where are we going to. To end, let me give you my most favorite Bible verse. Can we all read together? Matthew 5, verse 16. 1, 2, 3, go.
Let your light
Your light
shine
shine
before
before others,
so
so that
that others
others
may see your
may
good
see
works
your
and
good
glorify
works
the
and
Lord.
glorify the Lord.
So my dear teachers, as you become online distance learners, don't hesitate to let your light shine, because that's the only way that others will see your good works. And at the end of the day, this is all for your craft, for your commitment in teaching, and for your passion in the teaching profession, and for God. We offer everything to God. St. Therese is an institution which is highly Catholic and highly God-loving. So we always offer everything to God. Thank you for your attention. These are my resources, and I hope that you learned something new today. Thank you, my dear teachers.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Kerpin, for that inspiring and truly informative talk. We enjoy that, and I personally gathered a lot of information which I could apply because we are going through a pandemic as an educator. All right. So at this point of our session, we will be entertaining or addressing questions from our participants. Ma'am Cristel, is it okay if we entertain at least one or two questions?
Sure.
All right, whoever has a question, please raise your hand. Let us make use of the feature of Zoom that is raising the hand. Raquel Jose, Mr. Raquel Jose. All right.
Okay.
Oh, Miss
So,
Raquel Jose.
please introduce yourself, of course, as we go through the process. And from what institution you're from.
Uh, Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So I actually don't really have the question, but I have learned a lot from Miss Cristel. She's been very effective in sharing her expertise and knowledge about the topic. I was able to enlighten myself when it comes to the type of learning that we have to adapt to, especially in this kind of pandemic. So thank you for the insights that you have shared, ma'am. I'm hoping that we'll be able to have more seminars with you, even though I'm from a different institution.
From what school are you, Ma'am Raquel?
I'm actually from MIT. It is a school in Alabang, in Muntinlupa City, ma'am.
Wow, thank you so much,
Yes.
Jose from Alabang. Ang layo pero thank you for being here. I am thankful that you appreciated and learned a lot from this session. And hopefully I can see you in our next sessions. Meron pa po akong dalawang talk that will be more specific on blended learning and EDUC 4.0. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Even me, sorry, just to add, I actually got confusion when it comes to, let's say, the terms like blended, online, e-learning, and so on and so forth. But with the talk that you have given us, I was able to have enlightenment and, of course, to learn so many things. Yes, ma'am.
Wow,
thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
there you have it. Thank you so much for the compliment. Congratulations, Ma'am Cristel. Now we will be entertaining one more question. One last question. Please just raise your hand if you have any questions. Okay, we have a question from Mr. Jericho Aliposa. Sir, please raise your question. Thank you.
And hi, good afternoon, everybody. Actually, I'm just wondering kasi kanina na-mention ni Ma'am Cristel yung about sa paggamit ng yung radio tsaka television, di ba? It's a pretty challenging time and only a few divisions can actually pull it off, di ba? So I would like to take this opportunity sana to learn from our participants naman, no, na galing sa ibang part ng Pilipinas. So yesterday, one of our division teachers asked me to help them out para mag-mount ng radio broadcasting and television broadcasting studio sa DepEd. So I'm wondering, sa mga teachers po na nandito, I wonder if may mga similar initiatives po sa sa mga sarili niyong divisions. Maybe we can help each other out and para matulungan na rin yung mga future speakers natin for sessions 3 and session 5 para we can para ma-develop natin yung talk kung paano natin mai-utilize yung mga platforms na yun. Meron po ba dito?
Okay, anyone who wants to share?
Yes po. Wala po ba? Yung may balak na mag-mount ng radio broadcast or television broadcast na studio sa DepEd sa mga sarili nyong divisions? Kay Jack Chris Marquez, wala pa raw sa kanila. May I know po kung merong iba? Ayun. So, Ma'am Tel, siguro yung question ko po is, how in our in our siguro capacity as teachers, uh, ano kayong pwede nating gawin para para ma-propose to? What steps can we take para maiparating sa mga sarili nating division officers yung mga kagaya nito? I mean, I think it's a good idea na mag-utilize ng radio broadcast. Kahit radio broadcast lang, we had an experience nung January. In fact, we reported about the first days of COVID-19. It was a good experience para ma-expose yung mga students, and at the same time, if you can block a specific schedule like isang oras, pwede tayong per subject na abangan lang ng mga bata. So, yun yung question ko po, Ma'am Tel. How can we help elevate yung mga ganitong ideas papunta sa division?
Okay, thank you, sir. That's a good question and initiative. Well, of course, the only way that we can elevate this outside to the division is for us to pilot test first in our own institution. Because one thing that they would always require is a detailed curriculum or any modality implementation. So the only way we can give a detailed implementation is when we use it. So if we have, since STCDCFI is the pioneer in TV broadcasting for National Schools PressCon, regional, the representative. So we have to choose, is it radio or TV broad? And then that's the time that we mount a detailed instructional design for that. And then pag makita nating effective pala, let's say in one subject area muna, let's start small first. Then that's the time that we can lobby it to them. And for example, sa inyo, like here, humihingi na sila ng tulong, maybe they just need a technical assistance. But for the curriculum implementation, it would really start with us and our pilot test here. Okay? Sige.
Thank you, Ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
All right, there you have it. Are there other questions?
For those who cannot say it out loud, you can also use the chat box so that we can address later na lang at the end of, after this webinar.
All right. So I guess there are no more questions, Ma'am Tel. But for those of you who could not say your questions here, we'll be giving you an opportunity. You can send a chat via through our Facebook account. That's St. Therese's Christian Development Center Foundation Incorporated. Visit our page, and then you can ask your questions there, and we'll be very, very glad to answer your questions. All right. Thank you very much, Ma'am Cristel, for that very wonderful talk. And of course, for now, we shall be acknowledging our resource speaker for this afternoon. We'll be giving her a certificate of appreciation. The citation reads, Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Ms. Cristel Angelica C. Corpin for sharing her time and expertise during the Teach Like a Champion webinar series entitled Enhancing Learning Outcomes with Remote Teaching and Learning, New Roles and Capacities for Educators, given this 10th day of July in the year of our Lord 2020 at the STCDCFI, Tacloban City. Signed, Annie C. Corpin, School Head and President. Signed, Reverend Father Bartolome A. Pastor, Founding Chair of the Board of Trustees. Thank you very much, Ma'am Cristel.
Thank you, Sir Albert. Thank you to all the participants. And of course, you will have the certificate of participation afterwards. And
yes,
I hope
that
you
is
learned
true.
everything. The main challenge here is to really apply and jumpstart, your online distance learning experience.
All right. Thank you very much, Ma'am Cristel. For those educators who would like to have an access of their e-certificate, we'll be sending the link of the evaluation form. Take note that you will only be getting your e-certificate once you accomplished our evaluation form. And let me take this opportunity as well to invite you to our next session. That will still be Ms. Cristel as our resource speaker. This will be the continuation of our talk for today. If you guys are interested, please just visit our page. The links are there. Register first, and then we'll be giving you a confirmation via email. All right? Thank you so much. That ends our webinar session for today. I hope everybody learned a lot during this webinar session. We are very, very thankful to our resource speaker, Ms. Cristel Angelica C. Corpin. And of course, we would like to extend our gratitude to the initiative of the school headed by our school head and president, Madam Annie C. Corpin. Ma'am, thank you very much for the initiative. All right, thank you.
So
Now
can we
let
have
us
a
now.
group photo, sir, by the way?
All right, sure. So we'll be having a group photo. For those of you who turned their camera off, this is the time you can turn your
Please
camera on
turn
so
on your
that,
camera. Nasaan ako?
yes.
Hindi ko makita yung sarili ko. Okay. As
Sure.
everyone, sige.
All
First,
right, there you
first
have it.
batch muna tayo. First batch. So teachers, I'd like to thank you for active. Sana hindi kayo napagod sa boses ko. Sana you learned a lot, especially for those who are from other schools, yung non-STCDCFI, please wave your hand. Pakita niyo yung most beautiful smiles niyo. Ayan. Sige po, lahat na ba naka-turn on? Okay, so we will have our group photo per batch, okay? So sige, Sir Albert, on cue, ready?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you. Now let's have the next batch. Okay, next batch.
Next batch. Kindly turn on your video. Si Ma'am Mary Joy, classmate ko sa ED. Hi, Ma'am.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile.
Naka-off pa yung
Alright.
iba. Okay.
Ayaw magpakita.
Now for the third batch.
Meron
Okay,
pa ba?
give us your biggest smiles. Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, that's it.
Congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Dan. Thank you to all
So-
STCDCFI teachers who are here. Please tell the others from your unit to be
Let's
present.
invite more next time.
Congratulations, Ma'am Cristel.
Thank you very much, Ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. There you have it. Let us now thank our dearest Daddy God for a meaningful time.
Congratulations, Miss Cristel.
All right, let us end this session with a closing prayer to thank our Daddy God for the information that we got today. We are gathered in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Father, as we end this program, we want to give honor to you. Thank you, Lord, for all the marvelous things you have done today. May you bless each person who took the time to gather here today, and let your hand of protection be on them throughout the rest of the week. Let the work done here come to fruition, and let all be for your glory. Bless each of us and keep us safe until we are able to gather together again. We pray for all the words that you have sown in our hearts in this day. Watch over them, protect them. May they take root and produce wonderful things of beauty and great blessings to many. As we leave this place now, thank you that you walked with us. May we be alert to your promptings and live in your endless love. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and glory in this age and forevermore. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Once again, thank you very much, dear participants. We hope you find this truly applicable and inspiring. See you on our next webinar sessions. This has been Mr. Albert Rosete, your webinar moderator, bidding you goodbye, God bless, and Viva St. Therese.
Viva St. Therese.
Viva
Congratulations,
Saint
Miss
Therese.
Cristel.
Viva Saint
Viva.
Therese.
STCDCFI
Viva
teachers, can you
STCDCFI.
remain in the meeting? And for the rest of the non-STCDCFI teachers, you can leave anytime. Thank you very much. So again, for all St. Therese Christian Development Center teachers, please remain in this meeting room. And for the non-STCDCFI teachers, please leave anytime of your convenience. Thank you. Okay, so hi teachers. Wait lang.
Hello.
Hello.
I'll stop share.
Congratulations.
I'll stop share.
Congratulations, Miss Cristel.